Well, once again, I have yet to break a car in a normal fashion. Got Crown Victoria with 654,000 miles, and this little dream right here, thought I popped the motor on it. Just had the fuel injectors installed, and got maybe 10 miles down the road, smoke pouring everywhere, appeared to be coming out of the heads, and the engine completely quit running. Well, to make a long story short, the problem was a lot simpler than I thought. I originally thought it was a head gasket, possibly a head. Even better, apparently whenever they put the fuel injectors in, a spark plug wasn't tightened up. Spark plug shot out from the engine, hit the heater hose, and blew a giant gaping hole into it. So in the process of spraying antifreeze everywhere, as most Fords do, it quit running as soon as it got wet. And essentially my dad played with it, and now it's back to running like a champ. Although it needs a few little options, like for one, I've got a 302 sitting around that I pulled a red paper clip on. I have a running 302 high output that I basically have $10 in, including fuel 15. Essentially, trade an old 4-speed I got for $10 for a Chevy, for a Mustang T5, traded that for a 302 high output. So needless to say, it's going to get a little bit tweaky, you know. So we got the roller cam in it, which will make life fantastically simple. We'll go with a 331 stroker kit. Probably go with the 17-pound injectors just to squeeze a little more mileage out of it and just keep that to life a little bit to torque you need. Nice thing is, with a nice extreme energy cam, it's actually not going to affect the tuning of the vehicle any, aside from, you know, give me a few extra horses. So no need for a new computer. The beauty of this car, we hook the mufflers and stuff back up so it sneaks, as opposed to everything else I own, which, well, I guess technically the Crown Victoria sneaks. You just hear this nice little whistle that goes by at 150 miles per hour, which hopefully we'll have a video of that up pretty soon. Because like we not only bust Weasel's H2M's 100-mile-an-hour Cherry, we almost broke his 160-mile-per-hour Cherry. But as most of you know, 155 mile an hour is where most tires start getting a little sketchy. And when you feel that delightful little bit of vibration that says, "How's your health insurance doing?" it's a good time to stop and move on with your life. Anyway, if Wes wants to jump in the car real quick, we can go out for a little test drive. As far as upgrades and such go, plan to keep the thing fairly stock. When you have a nice road sofa like this, it just happens to go for land speed records. No sense in ruining a good thing. But I do have a couple little toys that I'll probably give it away to a point. Nice little $5 find there at my local scrapyard. Basically, a Lee Road Zinger for those in the know. Great guy. Always hooks me up with fantastic deals. But aside from that, if you want to take a quick look at the dash here, you notice the dash pad, like most cars in the 1980s, is what we refer to in history as fucked up, or for our non-censored viewers, cracked. Basically, being a nice little pimp mobile that it is, I figure I'm going to get some nice fluffy white fur, take some RIT dye, and actually dye it to a nice baby blue to match the rest of the car. And I guess we should see where it's set for its base power. Oh,
I can edit that.
Stupid Ford. That's my dad's excuse for everything. Windshield wipers die on a Ford. Stupid Ford. My Chevrolet wouldn't do that. I'm like, Dad, I drive the same Chevrolet as you do. Sometimes life just is annoying. Then I haven't put a tune-up on it. Or really much of anything aside from making sure it stays running. But that is soon to change. Yeah.
Sky Hill, Missouri strikes again.
If it ain't. Oh, there we go. And if you notice, there's a. I'm not sure if Wes's camera will be able to pick it up, so I'm going to actually roll up the window here. But you'll notice a nice little kind of teen sound once in a while. Well, one of my nice friendly muffler shop guys actually hooked me up. Took an air hammer and went through my catalytic converters to make sure I got some more power squeezed out, because believe it or not, on these, it's not quite as bad as the NSX, but actually had 4 small, like, catalytic converters for what you expect to see on Geo Metro on the back of the engine, which, you know, God bless the smog people. I'm knocking those out, and if I can get through inspection, which I did, it's not going to happen. No sense wasting 15 horsepower and 3 miles per gallon off to enough on something as silly as that. So, we're going to go out to the highway. One of the big curses of the 1988 Mercury Grand Marquis is the fact it had the AOD non-electric transmission, which had a few things I didn't like about it, like the Chevy 700R4 and 200R4 series would let you individually select gears. This one had a passing gear that was strictly run by the cable, and well, it's not the most horrible thing out there, but you only get first gear, then you had to let it have the option of switching into second and third. Certainly not quite as fast as my Crown Victoria right now, but the Crown Victoria is not exactly, shall we say, stuck, even at 600 and some thousand miles. Getting closer to 700,000 every day. In general, little things, gets about 24 miles per gallon. Does a little better if you keep it above 75, which, let's just say, has never been an issue for me.
Cue speed limit sign.
Oh, speed limit's really what I need to do in first gear. It's really Mike's policy in it. Oh, 70 mile an hour? Okay, well, my friend's little 308 Ferrari, as much as it is barely a Ferrari, I can do that in first gear. And I have no problem going through every one of them. But I have to admit, my friend's Ferrari isn't nearly as comfortable as this car. Not to mention, it sleeps through. A bright red 308 Ferrari, which looks like a Fiero basically, tends to catch just a little bit more attention than the 1988 Grandmobile. Which, the funny thing about Grandma is that she lived in an era where you deliberately bought the big block engine to make sure you went down the highway. They continued this through, well, 2011 when they ruined the Panther series by ending it. Which, for those of you who are fans of the Panther series, this is in fact a Panther car, so everything fits on this just the same as you would your Crown Victoria. The major difference is you'll notice it's less aerodynamic, not enough so that you notice it under 160 miles per hour. For legal reasons, I'll ask you not to ask me how I know this. And beyond that, I think it's really a gorgeous car, rides perfectly smooth. And really for a $600 car there at the junkyard, you can't really complain. Everything I've done to is fairly minor. I had dirty injectors, and I basically did like I always do when I pull out a junkyard, immediately drain the oil, fill it full of break-in oil, which is just about the same as putting Restore or something. It has zinc and I believe phosphorus and a few other things to just kind of help polish everything up, make sure it has a nice break-in. I always recommend when you're buying a used vehicle to go through the same processes as if you were breaking the car in, because really you're at that point. If it's been sitting for really long, make sure you go ahead and prime your oil pump and everything. But, and of course, drain your gas tank, not the way we do it. Yeah, otherwise you do like we do and replace fuel pump, fuel filters, injectors, and all that good junk. A little PSA to the grease monkeys out there. Well, this looks like a lonely enough stretch of road here to give it a good test for acceleration. And these I'm thinking about, if Wes will have it, for his online radio show, start having a little car life lessons with, yep, and we lost idling ability. Now let's see here.
Well, dead stop, baby.
Here we go. Nice clear stretch of road. Let's take a look at the speedometer. And as always with a manual transmission, well, not technically manual, manually valved. Once again, there's no individually selectable second gear, which makes me just a little irritated with Ford Motor Company. Slightly better acceleration than the Smart 4.2. However, I'm going to tell you right now, not nearly as good a gas mileage. And I'm going to level off here because I smell bacon in the mist. And my company actually has a little bit of a policy. If you do 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, you get caught, or are pulled over in excess of 80 miles per hour, or engaged in any act known as reckless driving, well, their insurance can't cover you, so I am looking for work. And as much fun as a $5,500 ticket is, well, it's nice to have a job to be able to pay for it. This is a nice little baseline. For too long, I'm hoping to put the 331 stroker I'm building into it. Either that, or as I've mentioned online, thinking about going with the 455 Oldsmobile that I've got a great deal on, and a nice 4-speed. In which case, I'm gonna switch to a 253 rear end. Of course, stick shift, fantastically simple on Ford. They do a cable system, so. And a long story short, you weld a piece of steel tubing onto your brake mount and run the rod through and run a cable, and you're pretty well there. There's a few minor things like setting up your brake pedal switch, and on the newer Crown Victoria, set up your anti-lock brake switch, but all in all, very simple swap. Much better than having to switch to a Z-bar. And honestly, probably just a little bit simpler than switching to pneumatic clutch system. But anyway, this is Blood from Turnips Automotive here with Weasel 2 HTM on his station. Catch y'all later. One nice thing I've always liked about the Panther series cars is being a bit of a car nut. Well, let's be honest, it's a huge part of being a Panther nut. But the other part is being able to bring everything you need along with you. Behind here we have, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is actually a Fox, but a Mustang. The sweet part about this, it's got the clutch quadrant, which I'm going to go ahead and switch it out with, to be exact, probably the Ford Performance product, either that or the Steeda one. Take a quick look, I'm not sure you're going to see it. Just a steel tube. Weld that onto your existing mount there and make a pretty easy switch to a clutch. And I bypass safety switch anyway, because in a pinch you can use a starter to make your car go down the road. Small block 400 Chevrolet. Surprisingly still good even after I had catastrophic blowout. Probably gonna go ahead and board 30 over just out of safety measures and have it go through. Just basically have the machine shop go through it. Lower for a 302 high output. Upper for a 302 high output, which I'll let you guys see. And if anybody ever messes with it, I found out the hard way. The Mustang fuel rails do not fit on other 302s, so didn't lose a whole lot. But as you know, still got quite a bit of trunk space. We'd usually stuff 2-3 bodies in here. Well, the swap meet, which if you've ever been to swap meet, you can understand why that would be necessary. And of course, eventually, I'll probably go complete ghetto-tastic with my little 12-inch kicker. Boy,